It's
next
coming
week.
up.
I don't know.
You
One
got
of
it.
those things.
Well, we're on Phil?
PCS show.
Yes, sir.
Beautimous.
You guys
Well,
got-
welcome
yeah.
everybody.
Introduce
Will,
I'm Will from the El Dorado.
there you go. And I'm Danny. I'm just hanging around.
Yeah, I was gonna bring TJ.
They
with
found me out
but,
on the docks.
He's out in the harbor working. So we were gonna
Oh.
try to take over from our show 2 weeks ago and restart, but he's got to make money too. So
Oh yeah,
told me I had to come in solo. So here I am.
good deal. So we got this going, and then Phil's going to be you'll be on the monitors and.
Yeah, I'll be
All
looking
the
at
little
questions. coming
questions.
in. Yep.
All right,
on.
perfect.
100%.
So you guys are still doing boat work?
They're finishing up boat work. We are online to leave Friday night to fish Saturday. Go to Nick, try to catch see what's there, prod around, look and see if there's some sea bass, some halibut, maybe yellowtail. If not, get up in the shallows, fish, the whitefish, the sheephead, the bass. Take home some stuff to eat. It beats sitting at the beach. All those people out there that went to the PCS show that are all itching to
Unbelievable.
go fishing and
Go try out their new equipment.
go take it out there and
Yep.
going to start running. So we are going to go for the next 3 Saturdays fishing before the Rockfish opener on
That's awesome.
April 1st. So we're excited to get back out on the water and saw a lot of people that ride with us at the show, saw a lot of people in the industry, met a lot of new people. It was awesome. You came by, said hi, saw Phil 4 or 5 times. I think he was stalking me.
Well, you couldn't beat a better venue, and the weather was perfect for those
Yes.
guys.
Well,
They was nailed,
Thursday
they
was
nailed.
Thursday was a little tough, but you know what? Even with the rain there, the PCS show was a good hit. So all the guys, Bill the Priest, he did a great job
Yeah.
putting it together.
Phenomenal.
I know they got another venue they're going to try to do next year down there in Marina Del Mar. I'm not sure if we're going to try to go down there. It's a little far from our spot, but you never know. We could be down there.
Yeah, I live straight up above the racetrack right there,
Do you?
Del Mar Heights. Yeah.
Wow.
While I was
you
in
drive
college.
all the way up here?
No, when I was in college.
Oh, that's college.
Yeah. Yeah, we had an apartment. It was $200 a month. Beautiful view all the way down
That
to La
was a
Jolla,
long time ago.
overlooking the racetrack.
$200 a month.
And four guys. We're in college, right? So it was $50 a piece. It was perfect.
Oh.
It was absolutely perfect. But yeah, take a look over the water, and you go. You know what? I need to go out there, even if it's go surf fishing or whatever. But you go inland a little bit. You had all the lakes.
Yep.
You know,
San Diego
Hodges
Lakes
was
are
right
good.
there, and that was before it was even open. But Miramar, I mean, you name it.
Oh,
It
Not
was
too
it
far
was
away.
a good, friendly place.
And all the
And,
lagoons that are up and down the highway right there for
and,
spotties
and
and
you
everything.
would die. I got the brochures printed out. We used to go fish. You fish overnight, 15, 20 for albacore.
Out to the Coronados.
Yeah,
on
so
overnight.
that was my college budget. But yeah,
There you
you
go.
could beat it.
I know the Coronados were so far when we were younger. We go to the Coronados. It's like way over there in Mexico.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yep. Now it's a 3/4 day
deal.
run.
Awesome deal.
Oh.
Well, Philly, we got any questions yet?
We don't have any questions, but I can tell you that spotter planes saw 5 big schools of bluefin 75 miles from Point
That's what you
Loma.
were saying.
More fish
I
down
heard
at
about
San
that.
Martin, more fish down at Cedros. There's a line of
Steady line of fish coming up. Yeah. I
And the
agree.
Mexican sanders have not reached their quota this year
What?
because they are super picky this year. They want 200 plus pounders or they're not setting on it.
Oh, yeah.
That
well,
could be
They just
good.
want
well,
big fish.
that's smart.
That's good. You
You
don't want to wrap up that 50 to 80 pound fish.
Yeah, you get premium. Yeah,
Better
especially when you
want
only get so much. Yeah.
Well,
you
then
might
they
as well
can't
get,
do anything when they get them.
Yeah.
There's no market
Yeah.
there, so they'd rather set on the
Yeah.
bigger stuff.
Yeah, that stuff. They put a couple post
But, I mean, normally
stamps on them and ship them over to Japan, right?
Normally,
You
it's
know?
they're done in a month and a half with their quota on bluefin. They go down, wrap everything, and then that's it. So
Yeah.
they're going to be picky on the big ones. They're looking. I mean, it makes sense for them. They're looking to make money.
Well, that's they're going to get the best dollar.
There you
if
go.
they're going to pay. They're looking for that Tokyo price, not the U.S. price.
And word around is sardines are hard to come by right now.
Yeah, I hear
Lots of anchovies, not a lot of sardines. So
Lots of anchovies. What would that bring?
Barracuda.
Phil, we might see it.
Barracuda.
that. It might be. It might be
Albacore.
the year.
Albacore.
Bonita. I don't say
Albacore,
the
that's
A word.
Yeah.
It's
the
one of those-
A word is the one that
I know everything. We were
Tips the
talking
scale.
about that at the show.
That changes everything.
The amount of gear that would come out of hiding, blowing the dust off the squitters, the newels, all the small reels to make the cast. Rubber core sinkers be flying off the shelves at 900 miles an hour.
Yeah, but
People
it's
trying
still,
to figure out how to crimp one on instead of just rolling the little rubber band.
No, it brings out the best in the fly line guys too. It separates them in from the boys when it comes to fly line and a bait.
Fly line little.
That's you can tell you who can, put a bait out there.
Not to mention the old secrets, the 3/4 ounce rubber core and your anchovy just hang on your rod while you're in between troll stops.
Some people do
that.
Like,
straight off the back of the boat, and your the original swim bait, little anchovy back there kicking dead, like a piece of wood, and get eaten.
Yeah, it's sad. So. Well, I mean that, and that by the same token, that's the beauty of albacore. It's for everybody.
Yes.
And they eat phenomenal.
So
we have our very best, our record years come on albacore because people will come out of the woodwork for those things.
They do.
You get that white meat tuna, it's all over. The phones,
processors are going to be swearing up and down.
It's crazy. Yeah. But no, it's people.
It is definitely a draw.
Pleaser, and
it's that nostalgic
changes everything.
Game fish everybody wants to catch because they're not here all the time. So when you're here, it's kind of like when the bluefin first showed up. All of a sudden, everybody wanted to go bluefin fish, and now it's like, oh, bluefin. And all of a sudden, the yellowfin kind of spudded out, but they're still around. You still catch a handful. We get a good. Never know. Albacore always seem to be followed by a pretty good yellowfin push in the fall there. So,
who knows about this water? It's just about the water.
You never know.
But yeah, you just never know. You never know. But albacore, they would do it.
Steve Bermuda says, an old man, he says, I like those 30 to 50 pound bluefin tuna. The rest of them are too big for me.
Those are the fun ones.
Yeah, they're work.
Those are the everybody fish.
They're work. Yep. Well, and that's good. You have to have a certain element of that too.
Yes.
You have to have it catchable. But yeah, and to be honest, I start thinking of I look at those big ones and I go, oh my God, what's my processing bill going to be? And so at that point, then we're still on the boat. We're making calls home, tell guys if they want a tuna,
come pick it up.
Come meet me at the boat. When we get in. And because it's just too much. I mean, the real big ones are a real pain to cut yourself, and if you process those things.
We don't even have the option to process them up here, so we got to cut them. But I mean, we don't mind. But
no,
it's all good. They still get treated the same. They get gilled and gutted, put down in the cold salt water, and pulled out and quartered, loined out when we go in if they'd like them processed.
All that prep work now has changed over the years. We used to sit. In our day, they would sit back on the bait tank and gunny sacks.
In the gunny sacks, put the deck hose on them every now and then.
So
rinse
it's
them
changed,
down.
and you get a much higher quality of fish now.
Well, that's part of the business now. Is you can't you can't run a successful overnight or any boat with your product, and it's fishing, but the ultimate product is how you handle their fish.
Oh yeah,
fish care is the most important thing when you do it.
When I grew up, it was really just us Buddha heads that knew what sashimi was, right? It was pretty foreign to everybody else. I mean, over time it's gravitated, and it's kind of taken off because of California, Southern Cal too, and now it's all mainstream. I don't care where you go. You can go to
they like it.
The heart of the country, you're going to find it. So it's pretty cool. But we've been blessed by that, having that right in our backyard.
Chuck Zimmer from Z Custom Rod says everybody better start practicing with a clothespin.
Do they know what clothespins are?
No, that's true.
Do they still make them out of wood or are they plastic?
You find them if you live in Mexico or Latin America or the third world.
They're gonna have to start practicing those little
no, you're right.
Yeah, you're probably gonna little hair clips, and casting little hair clips.
Or just a fish trap or a little plastic bait. That'll do it too.
Little number 4 hook and a 3-inch fish trap.
That'll get you. I need that practice.
Steve Bermuda says, I still have jig masters, man. They can't handle anything bigger than an albacore. Bring on the albie.
I don't think I have a jig master anymore.
I don't think I've ever owned a jig master.
Yeah, no.
Well,
I remember they were 12
Well, I went when I started with the TLDs, like the 15, that was like a jig master size. And then I went to the TLD 10s, and then I thought I was, working on the boats. You start picking up on all the newels. and I'm still a newel guy. I still fish all the old newels. I tried the first round of the toriums, and well, yeah, I moved on to from those to the Daiwa Solstice because me and the toriums didn't get along, not very well. They didn't hold up.
Yeah, I didn't have any toriums. I had Trinis.
See, I couldn't do see that now. See, when you guys brought the Trinidads down in like what was that 2001 when they came out, and those guys would come down on the tracer and stuff. They check out this gold reel. I'm like, how much is that thing? They're like $400, and I was like, what's it do? And they're like, what do you mean, what's it do? I'm like, but what's it do? Where's the button? Where's the push button? He's like, no, it's just smooth. I'm like, but what's it do?
Oh yeah, they were.
He's all, catches fish. I'm on my newel catches fish, and it just, I just could never go there. It wasn't for me. It was a little out of my price point being a crew member. You know, we had to stick with what we had.
That's true. You know, we were blessed. It was tied in with. I was repping G. Loomis at the time, and so it was a perfect match. And so Toyo Shimano came to me, and he loaded me up and just, pretty much gave me a carte blanche over down in Irvine, and I re-outfitted and got rid of everything and just went straight Shimano for a long, long time. Yeah, and they were, at the time, it was a great time. It was before.
No, they're great reels. Yeah. I mean, I've got to fish a few. They're great.
Awesome.
I just never. I went the other way. I got off the boats and I went straight inland green bass, brown bass fishing.
Oh yeah, well, see, that was good too because I had all those.
Yeah, you had all those too.
The Cronards and everything else too. So.
I still have the original saltwater gear I had from 20 years ago because I haven't bought anything new.
Oh,
because it still works.
Robert Graber says hello, enjoying the show at home. He said the PCS show was outstanding. He's so right about that. Chuck Zimmer wants to know from both you guys, what was effective back in the day for albacore on the slide? What was the best?
How far back? How far back do you want to go, Chuck? Because like he says, we can go back. I had
2007 to 2009.
If you wanted to fish super light line, if they're touchy, you used the squitter. And when I cut mine down and newelled them to the 145, so it gave me a little. It wasn't a 146, but it was, a little bit wider.
Is he talking baits or is he talking gear?
Why don't you address both?
So baits, so that 2004 to 2008, a lot of that. Well, I'm sooner than that. 2003. A lot of that stuff on the slide, guys would troll, and honestly, guys with 90Js and 4/0s or something like that, or big Trinidads, ounce and a half, 2 ounce, fish trap head and a 5-inch fish trap dragged behind the boat was on fire. You'd outfish the troll rods probably 4-to-1 half the time, and get them in quicker. So fish traps back then, any 5-inch swim bait stuff on the slide with an ounce and a half, 2 ounce head on it was great on the slide. You just have to be wary. Same thing. You got to hook up on the slide. Don't cast over the troll fish. You got to respect the troll fish because that's the fish that's coming to the boat, especially albacore fishing. You lose that first fish and they're gone.
And you got them on 80 pound.
Yes.
So I mean, you really want
Well, now it'd probably be 100-pound braid with 100-pound mono
shot
with a 200-pound leader. They're going to come straight to the boat.
Yep.
So if you're thinking bait, that whole thing I was talking about. The OG thing, a 3/4 ounce rubber core sinker, paint nose hook you a little anchovy on it. That's all they have. Leave that thing out there, let it dry out in the wind, get a bite, throw it off the back of the boat, and that accounted for a lot of albacore.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't let my guys do that.
No?
No.
I did that, and they
you're
looked
not
at me
killing
like
bait.
I was crazy.
I would tell them, even though I have those huge bait tanks, I said, you're not killing bait and hanging bait. You guys are going to learn how to fly line right, lower collar hook.
Well, as long as not everybody's doing it, it's one thing.
Michael scores already.
Surf perch.
There you go, Mike.
Little buttermouth.
We couldn't see you, though. Go back by Danny, and then we'll be able to see you. By Danny.
Come on, Mike. There you go.
There you go.
Beautiful. He's already got it.
All right.
He's already on fire. Come on.
Running back to the water.
What's the over and under today?
The over-under is now 3.
Oh, okay, Mike.
Oh, we have bets?
Yeah.
Where's the board?
Just throw your money out on the table there. We'll match it. Yeah, the board's right there. All right, Robert Graber says his favorite for fishing on the slide was the Channel Island Chovy fish trap on a 3/4 ounce lead head. Loved it.
That was a killer too.
Justin B says, let's go, Danny and Phil. Love all the knowledge and stories you share. Susan Sosa. Susan's a great person. Thank you for joining us. Says, hi, Phil. Albacore is on my bucket list. I've been very fortunate to catch so many species in my years of fishing. One day, I'm not giving up. Anyone remember the boat? Let me see. What does that say? Verlon, I think.
Verlon. No, I don't.
Belron. Bellron. Anybody remember the boat Belron?
No, I don't.
I
San
don't.
Pedro.
I don't.
Yeah, I don't
No,
either.
I don't. Yeah.
And Steve Bermuda says a Sabre 196.6 for the anchovies. Bring on the albacore.
Well, you know,
That's small. That was a bull rod.
that fish
Got
brings
bass rod.
people right out of the woodwork. And I got to tell you, you know, I'll give you an example. You know, when '83 was El Nino, and we had all the yellowfin, the Dorado, and Skippies and
I was
stuff
in
like
fourth
that.
grade. I don't remember much
And
of that.
with that warmer water, the biologists were telling them, you know, the ocean's going to die because of this warm water. Well, there's a few people that got a little spooked out on, you know, the ocean being dead after 1983. So we were lucky in that Ralph Miller bought into that. He owned H&M Landing. And Ralph ended up selling us, we bought the landing in 1984. And we had record, it went from warm water to one of the best algae years we ever had. So, you know, you talk about a crazy explosion and people come out of the woodwork like you can't even believe. And it's been years since that. We had 84 and 85 was just as good. But it was just amazing what albacore will do when it hits the fish counts. You know?
Oh, yeah.
You know, so yeah, we're looking forward to this. You just don't know, you know, and things, as far as I'm concerned, I forget the biologist. It cycles. The fish do what they want to do, not what the biologists want.
If you look back in history, you know, Monterey Bay used to be like full speed sardines, used to catch sea bass up there, and then it went away. And then it was all down here, and then it went away. And it just comes and goes.
It cycles.
It cycles through.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like the weather. It changes. I mean, you can predict it, but guess what? Nature's going to tell you what it's going to do, and you can't control nature. You know,
100%.
fishing is fishing. The reason we all love the sport is because every day is different.
Yeah.
You know, that's why we liked working on the boats. And we didn't have anything to do that. We loved being on the water. We loved every day being a challenge. Never was the same, except long. When the fishing was good.
I got to run out in 1 minute. Raul saying hi to me. Hey, Raul, I miss you, man. And Chuck Zimmer from Z Custom Rods has another question,
Oh, go,
which
Chuck.
is, what happens on the long-range boats when they have only chovy?
They make bait.
Yeah, they'll make bait.
Yeah,
They'll
how
make
does
bait.
that affect it? Can they survive?
Mackerel,
just on
snaggers.
chovy?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well,
You're going to be targeting different species anyway.
Yeah.
You're going to be out at the rocks or Guadalupe. You know, so you're going to be
You're
making
going to make bait anyway.
mackerel.
We made mackerel
Yeah.
on those trips. Even when we had sardine, you still got to make mackerel. Still make scads, greenies, all that stuff. It's no different than it used to be. Overnight boats, we used to stop outside and meter marks outside Clemente. We had to snag the little soap dish, you know, the little soap bar mackerel, little 6-7 inches. Load up on those things and go to the island and fish calico bass and yellows on the front
awesome,
side
yeah.
because the only thing you had was anchovies. You needed something bigger. The Farnsworth Bank, we used to fish there. Used to have those 1 pound mackerel you'd get in the harbor or at the bait receiver, and those things were gold on 40 pound. Button down drag and just play tug of war.
Fun stuff.
It was.
But there's always something that's going to adapt over.
Yes.
For whatever the conditions are. So you have to be willing to switch over. You know.
All right, Andrew Blount said, I picked up a fishing syndicate, 30 to 60 pound, 9-foot deckhand rod at the PCS show. What reel do you recommend for yellowtail, cabiria, and average size tuna?
Probably something in the 30 size, like a Torre 30, Trinidad 30. What's that? The Fathom 30. Something that's going to be like that. Not a small class. Something like between a 99 size and a full size jig master size.
Is it graphite or is it composite or fiberglass? Phil, did he say?
No.
Oh, okay. 'Cause that
you know what it
that
is?
makes a difference too.
Well, it sounds like it's a 90J.
Yeah.
So that's probably what it is. It's probably a composite. but something in that can handle that 30
Glass.
to glass. So you want something that you don't want something too small because it's going to be a thicker butt. Is it cork or Saint twine?
Yeah.
We'll wait for him to answer that. It's going to take a little while, so keep
No
going
worries.
there.
So it depends on what it is.
Yeah, I just told
If he's got cork, he's got to have enough. Make sure he puts some kind of tape on it. If it's Saint twine, he better
rope wrap.
So he better find something, and he needs to crank on that thing. Put some electric tape down on it and crank that thing down because it's going to want to roll on him. It may think it's tight, but it's not going to be tight. So find something, I would say, in that Torre 30 size, Trinidad 30. Look around, pick whatever reel you want. I'm not going to give you any, I just try to give you a base size what reel you'd want to put on there. You know, something that's going to handle that 30 to 40 pound, line, at 50, 65 pound braid. If you want to do a top shot, I'd go 65 pound braid to your line. I wouldn't go 50.
And I'll tell you too, a lot of it's going to depend on your age. And if you have the ability to do it, you'd have to do what us old guys do. I'd do 2 speeds because Phil will tell you, if it wasn't for that little accurate 500 2-speed, fishing 30 on that Freedom trip, that 60 to 100 pound fish on a jig master, forget it.
Oh, yeah.
It's not, you don't have the
That's
capability
another option.
to do that.
You can get a 2-speed, but
it made
on
a
a jig
huge
rod,
difference.
he's probably want a
Yeah.
jig fish, probably something single speed, 5.5 or 6.3 to 1. Would be a good gear ratio going. Penn makes good ones too. They're squalls. Star drags or Fathom star drags are good.
God, I haven't fished a jig master since they were
those are
$13.
But you know what? That 4 to 1 gear ratio was money on a surface iron. Because
back then.
Because
Yeah.
you could turn it, even though you're going fast or slow. Now you fish that 6.5. You got to slow yourself down because that jig gets going too fast.
Well, and then with the older stuff, it had a drag that was this big. So I mean, it was a thing. The technology changed so much. It's just
Still have the 440s that have 500 drags.
I can't. Yeah. No, I've. Fortunately, I've been blessed to be around guys that they would give me all the state-of-the-art stuff. Yeah.
So Susan Sosa's talking about the boat. She asked the name of it. She said it was 100 feet long. I believe it was out of 22nd Street in the 60s, and it belonged to the actor Douglas Fairbanks Sr. It was the first big boat I fished on with my dad. Great memories. Yeah, I don't remember that boat.
I wasn't even alive.
Yeah.
I wasn't born until 72, so that was before me.
Well, Danny, you sure were alive.
I was. When I was a kid, I was fishing with Grandpa and Grandma, but I don't remember it. I'm trying to think back. A local boat that was at, other than the barges that were on in Redondo.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Susan, we're drawing a blank, man. If you could
We'll have to look that up. Yeah.
A photo or something, that would be great.
Absolutely.
Really good stuff. No more questions, boys? What do you think? Are we going to catch albacore this year or not?
We always hope we do.
You just never know.
You
never know.
Find out what's going to happen. See what it is. Every year we hope is going to be a good one, and as long as people keep coming fishing, we're lucky to have them.
We're going to adapt anyway. Whatever it is,
that's all what it is.
This industry will adapt, and we've always been really good at that. But if we do see the chovies, what it is going to do, and it's going to change a lot of stuff for the guys that have just started fishing that have never fly line chovies, that are used to throwing a squid or throwing a sardine. Yeah, to fly line a chovy with a 4 or a number 2 hook,
Well, they still use number 4s and 2s, but they were using them for sardines. Now you got to use them to an anchovy. You got to learn how to collar hook them. You got to learn how to nose hook them without killing them. Pick the right one, that little blonde anchovy that you can't catch.
That's the bait you want, the one you can't catch. Absolutely. And that, people thought I would be facetious about it and a joke, but it's true. Watching in that bait tank and picking that bait is worth the time to get the right bait.
Not
and
squeeze
to just
it.
grab something and pin it. Pick out the good one. Pick out the clean. Usually it's a lighter colored bait. And you're going to have a hard time.
What's going to be selling a lot right now then? Those things show up, those little white bait nets.
Oh, yeah. Everybody had one on their
little white bait
on their
net
hips.
on their hips
one
so
on
they
their
could
hips.
catch the anchovy.
See, now, as a boat owner and stuff, we didn't like these guys would leave it in the well.
Yes, they left it
and
in the
they'd
well, but
kill the bait. And they get those things out of here.
But if you put it back in your put it back in your pocket, it's a good thing to have.
Yeah, but it's hard. You scoop it, you hold your bait. Okay,
We could do it.
Me, I wanted
can
my
do
bait. I wanted my bait in the water.
Well, God, but the smart ones are the ones that have a little have a little little rope on it. They get it, they just drop their net and they go.
There was not one frickin' deckhand or pinhead who used one of those nets.
No, we never used them, but but it's like
watching dead with one of those.
But it's like watching people grab squid. Okay, we all learned you grab them straight from the head, right? Your fingers right around their eyes, so they can't bite you. And you see the people that grab them by the very tip, and that big male comes up and next thing you know, the thing flies across the deck because he's swinging it off his hand.
We've seen enough over there. We've seen a bunch of stuff over the years.
I've seen some great squid stories.
God. Unreal.
Shooting the passengers with the little kid trips we used to do.
You lift up that one tentacle
and
you can aim it, literally.
I used to like to try to aim one of those humble squids, point them in.
And soak somebody. You better have your skins on.
See, now when you talk about cycles, remember how all those things were around a while back, and now they're not here anymore. So it's all relative to what goes through.
That's right. That's right.
It's oceanography, it's bait, it's all that.
They have tails. They move.
It's funny. I was just looking at a Facebook picture, and a good friend, the Redlew family, Frank and them, they were posting pictures of Frank's boat. And I can remember going out, I think it was 84. We came back from San Diego and we took Frank's boat out. And we were out in the channel here. And we were getting those huge albies.
Those 75-pounders, 50-pounders.
Unbelievable. In fact, my galley girl, I put her on Russ Iser's boat. The first string was pretty new.
That was a nice boat.
And she went with Russ, I had her deadhead with Russ. She was, she had a captain's license too. Franny had a captain's license. She came back. To this day, her record still stands, 75 pounds on 20 pounds.
It's a big album.
20-pound Isaac, yeah, huge.
Probably on a squidder.
It might have been.
Jig
She did
master.
picture it. More than likely, I think a jig master.
A lot of those guys were getting smoked on the squidders, just
But
straight spooled.
her record's still standing today. It's amazing.
That's a big albacore.
That's a big albacore.
75-pound albacore is huge.
And I used to get mad at Franny for fishing a split shot. He says, Franny, don't cheat, fly line it. Guess what? She caught that fish on a sinker, so I had to eat my words. So what do I know? Yeah. But
Well, I never
that's pretty
tell
cool.
anybody, think this will work? Give it a shot. Because the minute you
That's
say
the
that
best
ain't
thing.
going to work,
Yeah, it'll
you're
work,
done.
guaranteed. Yeah. All right. Phil, next.
No questions.
Oh, no
Eric.
questions.
Come
bring
on,
it
boys, carry
So
this
where are we
thing.
talking
Should we
about
bring
local
we should
albacore?
bring our Worm King guy up, let him show us his baits and
Yeah, why
stuff.
not?
Fish, give us your latest, man. You
Get out
guys
there, Fish.
will see it.
You gotta get close to
You'll
the
see
mic so
it
people
first
can hear you.
here on the show.
Yep,
Danny,
we're gonna.
Fish.
And Fish he's got all this state-of-the-art stuff but he's got all the toys.
Come on over here.
Fish, you gotta show us the toys, man. Come
You
on.
gotta go get out
Hey,
there.
get your
in there.
Fish, get your behind over here.
Stand behind Danny. One of them
Come on,
keep it
Fish.
dry
There he
boxes.
comes.
There
All right.
he is.
The one
Whoa,
and only
look
Fish.
at those babies. Come on.
Good.
That's like a mini spinner blade. Look at that with the split, with the little, so it's got the extra kick.
All right. It's got a little treble hook, a little swim bait.
Wow, that's a sweetie.
tail.
That looks good, man.
Let's
We'll see the
that
underspin.
thing, Danny.
Here, Phil.
We're digging.
Thank you.
Okay. Free
Now
samples.
this one's got a treble on the bottom.
Yeah,
These are the
nice
more
little
trouble
swim
hooks
baits.
and the underspins.
Yeah, those are cool.
Got another one, a different kind there?
That's got the little trap hook.
All right, perfect.
Yeah, with
Good
the
little
treble.
spotties, sand bass.
Good looking stuff, Fish.
Yeah, so it'll be out at the Van Torre show.
Possible little halibut catchers right there.
Man, you could probably use
Lake
this.
fishing.
I was going to say you could use this on
Oh,
a
yeah,
lake,
you could
man.
use
There'd
these
be
on a
a
lake.
little spinner bait here.
Lakes.
Well, they make freshwater.
saltwater,
It's-
calico, sandies.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how much stuff
That's
from
sweet.
freshwater transfers to saltwater.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean,
That's sweet.
and if you don't
Yeah.
want this little thing to swing, a little treble hook, you just stick a little boop right like that, and then it stays put. You don't have to worry about it snagging everything. It's just ready to hide.
Yeah.
But I better not do that because it's not my bait.
Painted a
those are
bait
cool.
sinker.
Yeah, you can keep one of those. Come on. for you. You try it out.
Okay, you can have the treble hook one because that's going to snag my finger. I want the underspin. So do they all come with this size blade, or do you make bigger blade ones too?
I can put bigger blades on them.
Okay.
Or you can switch out to bigger blades,
Yep.
however you want to do it.
Quality stuff too. Like a little ball
That's
bearing
beautiful.
swivel on there.
Everything matches together with the lead head to the body.
So Fish, you welded in that too, right? To get the
Probably poured into the head and looped on.
It's poured in.
on
yeah, beautiful, man. Well,
Speak up a little.
You've
Fish. Were you
seen-
shy?
these are
I am camera
So-
shy.
so-
really
guys,
innovative.
these-
I think this is
So
so
if
cool.
the albacore do come back, these would work.
Oh heck yeah!
Yeah.
I would
Those would
change
work.
out the treble hook on that one though. But
Well,
it
Fish,
would,
I think
it
you
would work.
them fish for albacore. You go about that big.
Yep.
Go a little bit
If they,
Yes,
if
we
they
don't-
But you know what?
we don't have a bigger
You
size.
would kill
ounce and
them.
a half.
You would kill
Yeah,
them.
well, even bait fishing, if you go up to
Yeah.
about an ounce and a half,
Man, that's beautiful.
you'd be in good shape. These are good.
That's beautiful.
They got great paint jobs on them. Like, great
you.
colors.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So,
Good job, Fish.
thank you.
You the man.
Thank you.
Awesome, bud.
All right. You can have
Beautiful.
it.
Thank you,
Try
senor.
it out.
What
Love
did
it.
you you took the treble hook one. Okay.
If you want to
You got
underspin,
one
you
each
can
one.
underspin. If you want to underspin. Or treble hook.
Now let me try the underspin. That's cool. I
Fish,
like that.
people ask
you know
me,
you're
where
gonna-
can they get these?
That's what I was going to ask.
There you go,
Yeah,
Fish.
very good. Will, thank you.
Where you get them at? Where they sell at?
They will be, you can go to the website, All City Baits. It will be ready March 23rd.
There you go.
allcitybaits.com.
Is it
Are you gonna-
online?
23rd,
You going? Yeah.
It will be on sale March 23rd on
Oh.
Phil's birthday.
Whoa, that's
Okay,
a very
so-
special day.
You said something. You said something about the Ventura County show too.
Yeah, the West Coast Sportfishing Expo Ventura.
Are you gonna have them for sale there?
They will be for sale at the at the
There you
show,
go,
too.
guys. If you want to pick these things up, Ventura or on the website.
Yeah.
They look pretty good.
Sweet.
AllCityBaits.com.
Wow.
Thank you.
Love it.
You want to get in my car?
Nice.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome.
Yay!
I think that thing would work on trout.
It would up there in the Sierras. They
Would
do.
it?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Get a big brown.
He's
Yeah.
coming back again.
Pre-orders for the line will be in another week.
There you go.
All right, we're gonna have to
You heard
bring
it
him
from the
back.
man.
Gonna bring
We'll
them
bring
back.
All right,
again.
thanks, Fish.
Beautiful. All right. Come on, boys. What else?
What do you want to talk about?
Well, you're the one who wanted to come in here and do the show.
I thought I had a partner. So,
You put me up there, I'll go for 4 hours.
well, normally I would,
Okay,
but we
well-
you got to have a little bit of. Me and Danny can talk about lots of things. but we're
Perfect.
trying to
Start doing it. You're on
yeah,
live.
hey.
Well, you know, the other thing that's coming up here, this is what, March?
Yeah.
We're already into the local trout scene, but, you know, in a little while, about a month or so, you know, we'll be up the opener, you know, for the trout season starts. There's a
Yeah.
lot of stuff going on. I haven't been up to date, but I mean, this was also the time of year I was doing a lot of heavy bass fishing. So, and of course, this would work for pretty much everything, but
I would definitely
yeah.
work with a largemouth bass.
Yeah.
Work for
Yeah,
smallies,
yeah,
too.
Yeah.
Pyramid.
Absolutely.
Cascade Lake.
Well, pyramids for smallies, you got better shot of smallies at Pyramid Lake up there off the 5. They got a healthy pipeline.
Need
They're
probably-
castaic too, but they definitely
Probably
got
get
more
some
of them.
stripers.
You would catch a lot of stripers.
Stripers on them too. Yeah.
So
Beautiful. That's awesome. Fish. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple of guys I gave some to out in Florida. They was catching tarpons and snook with those right there.
I can see it.
Sweet. Sweet. Awesome.
No,
Awesome.
well,
Beautiful.
talk about stuff. You know, we're looking forward to our rockfish opener too. You know, April 1st. You know, unlimited depth. So we don't have to go by the rules last year and after September where we had to stay outside 50 fathoms. So a lot of that stuff we did last year, we'll be able to catch in the shallows as well and keep them. Be able to keep our chucklehead again.
What are the limits they have now? I mean, it's totally different from when I was running boats.
I think we're still at 2 reds, 1 chuckle, and 10 rockfish, with no canaries, no cows, no goldens. There's one other one I can't think of. We don't catch a whole lot of them anyways.
Man, you guys got to really be on it when
Oh,
you put
we
in the
do.
fish in the sacks. huh?
But the good thing
Because-
about it, when we get up there, so we found it. What the hard part is, we found you catch your reds, but if you can't get in shallow, a lot of times, like last December, we found we had to move out off our original areas that we like to fish because it seemed like every chucklehead on the West Coast lived off of San Nicolas Island in 325 to 400 feet of water on a rock pile. Just insane fishing on like 6 to 10 pound chuckleheads.
Wow.
Like you couldn't even fish. You just drove away.
Wow.
You're just like, we're done. We can't go
You're
here.
kidding.
Wind them up. So
Wow.
somebody forgot to tell the chuckleheads that live out there that they're supposed to be endangered. So
The nerve.
I know. They
Fishing
didn't know
Game
that.
didn't post that?
No. I don't think Fishing Game has that authority. But no, we'll be able to catch, inside there. Once we get in shallower water, it opens it up to the Johnny bass, olive rockfish, the speckled rockfish, grass rockfish, everything that likes to live inside that we couldn't keep under 50 fathoms now opens it up because it's hard to catch Johnny bass in 350 feet of water, 400 feet.
Yeah, we never.
They don't like to bite. They like to live in that shallower water.
Right.
So even the starries and stuff like that, it's hard to find them out there in deeper water, but they do great in that shallower stuff. So it's cool because when we can do that, we can start out there in that deeper water, hit that 400 area, see what's going out there in the deeper water, do a few drifts, work our way into the island, finish up on the, the whitefish, the sheephead, bass, anything like that. When we're fishing rockfish, top off the limits, and then head into the house, opposed to starting shallow. We got to do what we can only do for an hour and a half, 2 hours. Then we got to go out deep because we can't come back. So it made it tough, but we learned a lot about that island because it was never open above 50 fathoms for so long. So last year we put some time in. We found a lot of stuff, and it was a learning process. But that's what you got to do. You got to learn. You got to figure it out. And once you get it figured out and start dialing it in, it's pretty good.
See, I would always time my trips, especially rock out trips, depending on the weather. So you're going to get the blow in the afternoon generally. So all my deeper stuff, I'd want to fish the 100 fathom stuff and stuff like that early. Yeah, so you don't have, you're not out, scoped out,
It's amazing being able to fish
instead of being up and
600
down
feet now with a 16 to 24 ounce sinker.
Oh, because the
and
Spectra,
the gear,
right?
the Spectra cuts through the water so much
Exactly.
nicer.
That's the big change.
just-
We were using Dacron back then.
Dacron like to float. The 5 pound sinker you hung up on the bottom on purpose with the 20 hooks and broke the sinker off and just wound your gannion to the boat after it floated up with 15 fish floating out there.
That was fun to see.
Winding. Guys that didn't know, we use breakaways. We'd break our sinkers off. We'd
Sash weights.
Yep, sash weights, 25 to 30 pound test, and you'd hang the sinker on purpose because you didn't want to wind it back up. It just was horrible. So get out those rocky bottoms and you hook straight to those. If you ever see why deckhands, we try to put a piece of mono between your swivel and your sinker. That's why we don't want you to lose your gann or anything like that. We want to snap it off so you get your fish to the boat and you're not trying to break 80 pound tests, which is what most of those little ganyards are made up on. It's easier to break the breakaway than break the main line.
That's right.
So
Sam De La Torre from Island Fishing Tqckle says, can't wait to fish our sponsored trip on the Eldo, leaving April the 12th, fishing Sunday the 13th.
And it was good to see Sam at the show too. So looking forward to that trip as well.
All right,
Good
Ren
deal.
says, we'll be purchasing soon. Looking forward to a day-and-a-half reverse trip and 2-day something fishy sponsored in July. Stoked. Is that on your boat?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly. I haven't looked at all the sponsored trips, but I know we do we're one of the few that do the reverse overnight or something like that, which works good when those bigger fish are up in the backside of Clemente. It lets somebody that wants to get out on a basic overnight trip but it's the opposite. We leave at 11 in the morning. We get out there before dark. We fish all night. About 2 o'clock in the morning, we call it quits and we go home. It beats going out to San Diego. We got to pay a day-and-a-half price to go fish because you want to get in the same area, but they can't get out there that first night to get a shot at them. So it doesn't work the same. So works good for us when they're up here. We like catching them.
Yeah, and Ren says that is on the El Dorado. Pokey Dad Fishes, Phil and family. Great seeing you at the Berkeley Lining booth, brother. Hey, I remember you. You were so kind to my son Philip and I. It was great seeing you also. I don't know what the final count was. Maybe he'll tell us. I think they spooled 2,000 reels at the PCS show.
Oh, man.
They were at 1,500 when I was there, and I forget what day that was.
That's burning up some bearings on those machines, huh?
Wow.
Woo.
How many machines did they have?
12, I think.
Wow. So what was the deal? Because I missed it. I was
You
running
buy
around.
any reel, new reel, that had a value of $50 and above, they put free Spectra on it.
That's the deal.
Holy smoke,
That's a
Spectra!
hell of
That
a
is
deal.
a deal. Because if you think
Spectra?
about Spectra, yeah, because if you think about it, if you went, because I saw some of the ads for those Talica 20s, you know, the show specials, those 20s hold, put 100-pound braid on it, there are 600, 700-yard reels.
Yeah.
That is a lot of 100-pound Spectra for free. That's a deal right there.
Absolutely.
Now I understand why they spooled up that many reels.
Oh, wow.
That was a great deal.
That is a great. That's
Now I kind of
unbelievable.
miss out on. I should have bought reels instead of glide baits.
Should have been listening to Tackle Shop Confession, man. You would have been up on all these deals. Sam Lee La Torre's back again. Fired up to fish some of the vertical jigs I got at the show.
It will be good.
All right.
Get
Well,
out
you
there
show
at
them tonight.
450.
You're gonna right? Or, you know.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah,
Sam will
perfect.
show-
Have them all
Sam,
out.
you're
I
gonna
like
show
that.
those off, right? I'm sure he
We're
will.
prepping Sam for his show.
Yeah,
He's got
I didn't get
something.
to
He
see
can
him, Sammy.
continue.
I was tending grandkids at the show. But that was cool. No, I was with my
Yeah, how
brother.
did that go, Danny?
It was good.
I wasn't
I
there
had,
when your kids.
yeah, I was with more of my brother too, which was nice because
Yeah.
Steve and I don't get to spend a lot of time when he's working.
That was nice meeting him.
Yeah, and I'm telling him, start getting off the boat. You've been doing this long enough. Let's go fish. So we are. We're gonna go down to Bay of LA and we're doing our 8 day together and stuff like that. So that makes it nice. Yeah, he's did it. He's done his time. I feel bad for him. We pulled him out of high school and he's ever since. You know. But yeah, it's time to go fish.
It is. You could tell at the show everybody was ready to go.
Yep.
Everybody's wanting to go. Everybody's ready to go. So we're ready to go too.
Well, you know, these shows, that's one thing they're good for. They get you pumped up.
They
get
do.
you
There was
pumped up and ready to
definitely a
go.
lot of people.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
it's nice, like I said, meeting the people that watched us on Instagram or our daily updates and saying hi. And like, we saw you on YouTube, we saw you on TV. That, you know, you something. Like,
Well, you look
no, congrats, thank you.
You look at the mode of communication now with these podcasts, and it's so different from back in Phil remembers when we had radio shows when we go down, or I had to drive down to a studio in San Diego, or with, who was it, Ronnie Kovac, I'd have to go up to Hollywood there.
Or
pretty
you had
much,
to go
or
to Anaheim
Burbank.
Stadium.
Yeah, you know,
5 o'clock in the
I
morning.
did that one too, you know. But yeah, it's just so much more convenient. Here we are, right at home, right at the landing, and you can't
Being
beat it.
broadcast.
Yeah, we
there's
get
no
all kinds of
headsets.
celebrities coming in. We get the fish,
There you go.
you name it. We got all the guys coming in.
We're gonna get Phil
to
on a
see the
radio
latest
channel next.
and greatest stuff. You know, yeah.
Glenn Del Mendo from Wicked Tackle Box. Fish knows him. He says, hello, Phil and the Friedman Adventures team. Great to hear both Captain Will and Danny. What a great show. Let's go fishing.
Agreed.
Let's go fishing. You ever remember watching that, Harry Kojima?
Yep.
I did. We did 2 shows with Harry on the Mustang, and then what a crack up! They just loved it. They absolutely loved it. But you know, in Hawaii, they don't have the style of fishing, right? So it was actually put together by a friend of mine, Jason Nia, who was the Pentex camera rep, and he was good friends with Harry and did some shows with Harry. Well, we flew the crew over the first time, did it on the Mustang, and we pretty much sunk the boat. Whether it was bluefin, dorado, and all this stuff, right? They took, I said, take it all. And they said, are you serious? And he said, yeah. Well, Ward Yamashiro, one of the guys that fishes with those, he was the Delta sponsor. They literally took, I don't know how many tons of what, we did 2 trips. One was a bluefin and yellowtail trip, and then the other one was a yellowfin and yellowtail type trip. They took, you know, the big ice chest, loaded. I mean, I don't know what kind of tonnage there was there. But they took it all back to Hawaii on 2 different trips. But it was just a very lucky group. We killed them, and I think it was Mike. I think Redley was running the Mustang for me at that time. I got off the boat, but we flat out whacked them. But they, you know, the Hawaii guys. I mean, they go through their fish,
They like them.
and they eat all of it. So it was, but I've never seen anything like it. They went out to that Big 5 down on Rosecrans. You guys familiar? Just
Yep.
before you get on the freeway down there in San Diego, I think they bought out every ice chest to load up with fish, you know, and fillets, and it all went back to Hawaii on Delta, you know. So
Yeah,
it was
Delta
amazing.
love them.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah, so interesting stuff over the years, I'll tell you.
Chad Christopher, some fishing videos will focus on the fish being caught. If you were to make a fishing video and focus on the crew for the backstory, what would you like people to know about the crew?
Ooh,
They don't get much sleep.
they don't. Honestly, the backs. If you ever watched, get on a boat and watch how hard the crew actually work. They're constantly moving. You don't have a whole lot of downtime. A good crew member will always walk around. He'll always make sure everybody's doing good, socializing. In slow times, that guy that's up on the bait tank, he's still got to be aware what's going on. You know, in between, you got to keep the boat clean. You want to keep the boat rinsed off, heads clean, stocked. Make sure everything's good. Up in the wheelhouse, looking for stuff. You know, it's tough. I mean, I got lucky back in the day because we do the island moves. You know, I started in the 90s. I feel like that was a long time ago, but really not. But in between island moves, you do those 25, 30-minute moves. We had it down so fast. We get the boat hosed off, the heads cleaned, everything done, and we get 10 minutes of sleep and pop back up. Every time the boat, you'd go run to your bunk, get 10 minutes of sleep, pop up, and be ready to go again. And that was the only time you really had to rest, because a lot of the times you'd be up all night long, crowding squid, and then you'd look at that one guy, you'd work all night for 4 scoops of bait, and that guy'd hook a squid on, he'd make one cast with it, wind it in, go, throw it in the water. Can I get another one? You're just like, because you worked your butt off for the whole night for it.
Or he'd throw the squid off.
That's what I mean. Yeah, and then so you know, there's a lot that goes on that behind the scenes. When fishing's slow, it's not very comfortable up there in the wheelhouse when you're running the boat, because you are doing everything in your power, trying to find something, trying to make the best decisions, talking to everyone you know who's possibly close by or in the know that has a radio that you can get a hold of, or now on a phone. You know,
yeah,
just so
that's different.
You can get an idea of where they're at, so you can possibly make it. And it doesn't always go that way, but you know, that's what we do for a living. That's what drives us. And you know, the next day we have to shake off. If it was a bad trip, shake that trip off and go to the next one. But you can never be depressed. You can only control what you control. And
every day is different.
Yeah,
every day is different.
And we spend a lot of time on the water with each other. No, it's a family thing. I mean, we get irritated at each other. We do. It happens. We try not to, but it's part of it. There's little things that we try not to bring on the boat, and we try to do our best. So, but
yeah, it's
a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
And like you said, not a lot of sleep. And those long range guys, there's definitely not a lot of sleep. I did that for 3 years. They don't sleep much. It's tough. If you get 5 hours straight, you're like in heaven.
I watched last year, the guys are going into these, we're fishing bluefin all night, and we're picking all night.
Yep.
So they don't get much sleep, and you go into a daytime bite. And
Yep.
You go, oh my God, what a nightmare for the poor crew.
You try to rotate
and being on that other side, yeah, you would try to tell the guys, hey, we'll get some sleep, but they're not like that. Most of these kids are on the boat because they love doing what they're doing.
That's the only thing I can say about the newer ones.
I can't tell consumers that, man, all that tip at the end of the trip, it means an awful lot. And if you were to figure out the time that they were up, it's probably a 20-hour day, you know? And I've been fortunate enough to be in that situation, but so I passed it on to the people. And they said, you see that guy? He's been up all night, making bait. And then he got up first thing in the morning, did this. You just got to appreciate the fact that, that we have crews that are willing to work and really have a love for what they're doing and for the consumers, and that's, my hat's off still.
I got 3 guys. They're pretty good. I mean, we're lucky we keep 3 deckhands, so we try to rotate them. We have to have one guy that has to stay up now. Like, remember I used to leave the bait receiver boat, breakwater. All the crew went to bed except the captain that was driving the boat.
Yeah.
Well, now we have to have somebody up while we're underway on deck watch. So it makes for long days there too, because they don't just get to go to sleep.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Brutal. It's a lot tougher than it was.
Yeah.
So we run those 3. We rotate them through. One guy gets up and drops the anchor for me, stays up some. If I can put him to bed, I'll put him to bed down for a nap or something, especially if we're on a 2-day trip, day and a half, so he's fresh, and just kind of rotate him through so everybody gets some sleep. But we try to make sure our deck crew gets 6 to 7 hours of sleep, hopefully. Now, when we tell them to go to bed and when they go to bed, that's not our problem. If I tell them to go to bed and they stay up 2 hours longer and then they complain about, well, I told you to go to bed. So that's on you.
You know what the problem is, Will? Most of these kids that are doing this and spending those 20-hour days, they love to fish. They're doing it for the love of fishing. So that's why, and even more so, I don't even have to tell
I like to go to bed.
my guys that fish, but I tell them, make sure that the kids are taken care of, because they are busting their behinds 24/7.
No, but you know what I mean. When you're on the boat, when you tell your crew to go to bed, you expect them to go to bed. And then when they're like, I'm tired, well, that was on you.
Usually not because they're tired, it's because they're biting, and they're going to stay up through that. But it's just in their blood, And you got to give them credit for that. I'll tell you. I mean, that's why.
When it's biting like that, you don't get tired. You're full speed, ready to go.
Yeah.
Your adrenaline's kicked in. You're just.
When you get to my age, then you go lay down in a bunk and sleep. And they're biting, and I'll go.
I'm good.
Yeah, I'll get them in a little while. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'm good.
I'll get my share later. You guys kill them.
Glendale Mendo says definitely a grind for the deckhands. Great question, by the way, Chad. Lipper the Fisherman. Hey guys, great show. Was wondering if you had to go old school like a Senator or Newell for today's fishing, how would you set it up, and what rod and line would you use with it?
I fish old school.
You answer that one.
So on my, I can tell you right now on my basic setup that I fish day in and day out on anything up to like the 30-pound bluefin. I fish a 229 Newell on a 278-foot fiberglass bait stick. I have 50-pound braid put on it, and I fish either 25 or 30-pound mono and a 2.5 to 3-foot fluorocarbon leader, heavier than what my line is. The only thing I don't fish, I won't fish a 4.0, I won't fish a 6.0, because I'm not going to kill myself on a big tuna. Don't do that. You're going to fish 100-pound fish? No, a 4.0 is not the way to go.
And you're talking pens?
Yeah.
You're talking pen rails? Okay.
Yeah, that's
so a
that's
4.0 and a 6.0 pen drag is about like that.
Yeah. Okay. If there's no old school on big fish. You want to go old school on light fish, stuff like that. You want to go with a 220, 229, 332. All that's great, but when you get in those fish over 50, 60 pounds, that old school stuff, there's a reason we didn't catch 150 to 200-pound tuna before all this other stuff, is because it was almost impossible. You couldn't stop them. Back when I first, 95, I think, was when I first saw like 100-pound bluefin, 94. Guys were trying to catch them on 4.0s and 6.0s with 80-pound. They're getting smoked. A bluefin reel back there for those 100-pound fish was a Shimano TLD 20 or 30 with 60-pound test on it. Right. And if you hooked a big one over 200 pounds, you were smoked. Yeah. And I remember Steve, was it Tanaka that had the Fortune?
Yeah.
So we were down there in 95, and he got on a stop with those bigger fish. They were all 125 to 200 pounds. He had 18 guys hook up. 2 hours later, he still had 18 guys hooked up, and they hadn't had one fish on the boat yet. Because you couldn't stop, you couldn't pull them. You can't do like you can now. The techniques weren't there. You don't have the tackle. So if you want to go fish that little stuff on the bank, yellows, sea bass, fish under 50 pounds, that old school, you want to fish a Newell or something like that, 30, 40-pound line, great. You need over 50-pound fish? No, put it away, step up your game. I have a small 2-speed for that has 65-pound braid. I fish 40 or 50-pound on purpose because it doesn't work. It's not worth it.
Yeah, no, I mean, the tackles come up. And I'm just the opposite. I mean, I've been very blessed being around a lot of the guys in the industry where I get, the high-end tackle and the experimental tackle, and you get spoiled. You got spoiled when you have button. Phil could tell you on our Freedom trip, I'm using a little tiny 500 accurate, but it was a 2-speed. And with 30-pound, the majority of the fish were all that 60 to 100-pound fish. It took time But at least you have a shot. You have a chance on them,
them.
you know. And I'm using straight graphite, so it's recovering fast. I'm using
But there's also a difference on those fish right there. So when you're pulling on 30 pound, so when you know you're undergunned, there's only two things you can do. You can either babysit the thing and it's going to chew you off and you're going to lose it, or pull hard and you're either going to get it. Because if you're not going to pull hard and you're not going to do it, you're never going to do it.
You're right. It's all in your attitude.
I helped a guy catch a 109 pounder on it's a good plug for Daiwa, by the way. It was a Alexa 400 with 50 pound braid and a 30 pound piece of top shot. And we landed a 109 pound, might have been a 300. This was like a couple years. I don't know if they had the 400 out, but yeah, it almost spooled him 3 times. I got it to stop. We got it coming in. He had it on a CalStar 800H, which was the saving grace, and the thing stayed on the surface the whole time.
Wow.
And I'd get the line back, and I'd hand it to him, and he'd lose it. It'd all go back
off.
He
was doing those big circles then.
Yeah. So then I'd get the line back on, and I'd hand it to him, then he'd lose it all. And then like the next time I did it, he goes, "You just do it. I can't." It just keeps coming back. So, and luckily it made a big circle when I was on the XL. It did a big circle, went around the bow, and it was up high, and I could see it. And I was, you know how big the XL is. I was at the gate. I stopped at the gate, and that fish turned the corner, and one of the deckhands stuck it for me. That's how big of a circle it was doing.
Yeah.
And he goes, and I hooked it for my wife. I'm like, but why? So why do you hate your wife? And she's like, I'm not pulling on that thing. But there's nothing you can do. You know, I buttoned the drag down as tight as I could, and I pulled as hard as I could, because you're either going to get it or you're not. So
that's right. You got to have that attitude.
If you hook a big fish on light line, guys, don't babysit it. Don't baby it. Either turn its head for the first. You're going to know in 30 minutes. You know, either going to get it or you're not.
Well, that's it. I know it's an attitude.
You know, and if you
I'm going to get him, I'm going to break him off.
Sit on it for an hour, hour and a half, odds are he's going to chew you off, and you've got everybody staring at you, waiting for you to pull on this fish.
Yeah.
Which you
can't baby.
That was one of the things. They'd hook a big fish, and they're like, what do I do? I'm like, got 2 options. And they're like, what's that? I'm like, we're going to pull really hard. We're either going to get it or break it off, or I'm going to find you another crew member, because I'm not going to babysit you for the next 3 hours. And they may like, all right, let's pull really hard. I'm like, sounds like a good idea. And you know what? 90% of the time, we got the fish. It's just having that ability to want to do it and not worry about it.
See, everything at that point has to line up. You have to have a strong enough hook. The weakest link is going to go.
Yes.
Okay. So it's your fluorocarbon.
The hook a lot of time will straighten first.
To your mono, to your spectra. Yeah. Hook sizes. I went through, even on that Freedom trip, I went through 2 different hooks before I finally said, the heck with it. I had to go to a 4X. You know, I went from the first things were super light hooks. They were like gamakatsu ringed hooks, you know.
Oh, the little Nautilus one. Yeah, those aren't.
But they were too. You know, we didn't know. Well, the first fish we were hanging were 20-pound fish, and all of a sudden I hang one that runs outside, and I'm going, what the heck? And Phil has it on camera, but mine is hanging outside. I said, what is wrong with this fish? Everybody else is straight up and down.
Yours was a little bit bigger.
It was a little bit bigger. You know, and then I straightened that hook out.
See, that's the joy that we've gotten over the last years is when somebody asks what size hook. Okay, smaller fish, 25, 30-pound line. The little mustad, circle demon, the 3X1s, the 1Os. Those are great. 2Os, great hooks, but not after 40-pound test. They're not good. You step up to the Gamakatsu, ring Nautilus hooks. If you have to step up to that, you go to a heavier one. You go to the 4X demons. You go to the owners. You just step your, you evolve your line. And guys, if you got a question about a hook and anything like that, ask a crew member and they'll give you the best answer.
They're there
Always
every
ask
day.
A crew member. We're here all the time. We want to catch fish. We don't want you to fail. If you're not sure how to tie a knot, ask one of us. We'll tie it up. If you're not sure about tying your mono to your fluoro, we're happy to show you guys. That's what we're there for. It's not the old days where you were on your own. We were just there. It's customer service. That's why we're there. You want to catch fish. If you get that opportunity to hook that fish, we want you to land it. So always listen on the way out. We'll always kind of give you a recommendation of what you want to use. Take notes. That's why we do it.
That's right. They're there every day.
All right, Lipper the Fisherman says, thanks for breaking it down. Really appreciate your answers. We're running out of time, boys.
I know you got to go do tackle.
What about your airbags here?
We've got a few more questions here. Chad Christopher says, thank you, gentlemen. Never caught a fish without a great captain and crew. Every fish I've landed is because of the team effort. And in the boat fishing says, do you know when they are going to put out the 2025 rockfish regs? Side note, do you think they will ban reds? I think they put them out, right?
They're already out. No, they didn't ban reds.
So what are the regs again?
I believe we are allowed 2 reds. I think they continued over from last year. I know we can't have canaries. I saw the canaries were taken off the list. We used to be able to keep 1 canary. Those are gone. No cows, no golden eye. I want to say it's a widowed rockfish. We're not allowed to have.
So what do you have to do if you bring one up? You have to put one down with one of those
you have to
release
have.
deals?
Well, you have to have. Anytime you're fishing rockfish, you have to have a descending device on deck and available. It has to be there. So if fishing game's on your boat and we don't have a descending device, and it has to be there. That's why we have them.
Wow.
So we have to have them. You've got to have enough weights to get those fish down and get them dropped.
You know, I got to tell you, I've never been so thankful I'm not running boats anymore.
It's a lot. You got to pay attention to everything.
Yeah. Well,
and then it's like a Johnny Bass. You can't keep a Johnny Bass, but you keep an olive rockfish or the yellowtail rockfish. They look almost alike, but a little bit different.
You know, that's.
I don't know.
I'm sorry. I'm going to bite my tongue because Russ Eisen and I used to get in a lot of trouble telling the truth about fishing game.
You never. Well, it's not. I never bash the officers that go out there because
no, it's not them.
It's not them. They're put in that position. They have to do their job, and I respect them for doing their job. It's the bureaucrats that advise the people to make the rules that not are always in the best interest of the fishermen.
You know, here's a good
but
one.
But it is what it is. We have to abide by it.
Pretty much explain this. I've said this before, but I'll tell you again. One time Russ Eisen called me and said, hey, you got to come with me. We're going up to Santa Barbara. I said, what for? We got to go to a hearing. I said, well, what's it about? It's about the sand bass being depleted in the Channel Islands. And I said, well, when did they take the census? In the fall. I said, well,
there's no sand bass in the fall.
Right. They're on their way back to Abrios.
The only ones that are...
They go spawn back in Mexico.
But the only
and
ones
they
that
didn't
are,
know that. These are biologists.
Yeah, the only ones that are there are the ones that live on the hard bottom and the reefs that aren't migratory. But the migratory school left. That's why we don't fish the Huntington Flats in December.
Exactly. We used to follow those clouds all the way up down to Old Mexico. And they were just clouds of sand bass. And they come up to San Diego, and all the half-day boats would get their jollies.
Yeah, they hit the Tijuana Flats, and they get up off La Jolla. The next thing you know, they're on the clam beds at Oceanside. Then they pop up outside Dana Point. Then they're up on the Newport Beach, Huntington Beach area. They pop up into the bay. Then they're up on the Ventura Flats up that direction. Then they turn around and go back.
Yeah, well, the biologists didn't know that. The fishing game biologists didn't know that. So, I mean, and that's why when we went up there, we go, this is ridiculous. This is based on what you guys are saying. Well, you guys don't even know that they're migratory.
Well, they don't ask the captains or the guys that fish for them, which is where you should be.
Well, that's the problem we have. It's the problem we have with any of our state officials at every level.
Boys, great show.
We got to go.
Time to sign off, though.
All right. Thanks,
guys.
From
we'll talk to you.
Appreciate it.
And fish. Thank you.
Thank you.